Howdy YouTube folks, I'm just getting a glass of water. For those of you who grew up on Mickey Mouse, you know. If you know, you know. Love Mickey Mouse. Some people aren't crazy about that, and I totally get it, but he's one of my favorite cartoon characters. If not my favorite. I mean, there's many others. Like all the, Snow White and stuff. I used to watch those as a kid when I was really little. But, I thought I would make a video and reach out to maybe if this would work for teen youth mainly, maybe preteen, young adult. One thing I can stress home, and I want to kind of share to the best of what you will get out of me experiences, and I won't be sharing all of them because there's some stuff I did that I really wasn't proud of, that I would rather just shroud in secrecy and never share publicly because they were not the greatest things, and I feel those are just not something I want to dwell on anymore, really. But I was sitting here listening to nostalgia and thought of this video and kind of remembering things maybe I shouldn't have, because yes, they're mistakes I made and I regret them, but I learned from them and their lessons, and so I should move on. But I thought I would make this video because sometimes I get flashbacks in my life, and sometimes of things I don't necessarily want to remember, but I did it and it's on me and it is what it is. But I thought that I would start out with after I was little, in a place we were living at the time near the grade to middle school I went into, and how I started in my grunge phase. And I was pretty mellow there when I was in grade school, but when middle school hit, I started to do some things I wasn't so proud of. Little things, and I just started to become this human that was, because I was so depressed about myself that I let it absorb me. I started to do some really not normal things, and I wasn't proud of them. And then eventually we moved from that place, especially once I went into high school, because I think we'd moved already before then into another place, and then I went to high school, and yeah, so I did some things I wasn't proud of, and planting. I'll give you some of the minute things that I guess weren't as bad, like planting stink bombs in the bathroom. And one time, me and my friends decided we would melt a Snickers bar, or maybe it was 2 Snickers bars, in the microwave and mold it into a piece of a pyramid of poo drop, like the poo emoji with the eyeballs, and plant it in the bathroom, because I had male friends back then, and I don't think that was so nice of me to do, because whoever went in there and found that probably got really grossed out, and I don't think that was very nice, but we did it anyways, and I won't name names, obviously. But yeah, there's 2 examples of things I wasn't very proud of, and tricking one of my friends who might have been slightly more gullible to going in and him accidentally triggering that stink bomb and laughing when he came out because it smelled, and I felt bad about that looking back now, because that probably wasn't very nice of me to do, and I did consider him as a friend, but I did it anyways because he was the type of person that wanted to fit in too, and so doing that probably wasn't very good on my behalf, but I learned from that. And then as I got into my teen years and I got into my metal punk / rock reggae kind of even deeper into gangster rap and Insane Clown Posse, Slipknot, stuff like that phase, I found myself becoming a really negative person. I was so depressed. I had been I had gone through all my things in grade school, and did something that I believe I made a video on about my how I knew I was trans and being caught and then wearing my mother's clothes and her questioning me and me denying it, which was which was after grade school, middle school, and then I remember in high school getting to high school, and then we had moved finally out to a house next to the house I'm living in at the time, and I just remember being in even more of a darker space. My head was not in a very good place, and just being really depressed about not being authentic to myself, and then just doing it, turning into that rock, metal, Slipknot stuff like I mentioned, and just becoming a really horrible person, and then saying things that I regretted saying. And if there's something I can take away from this to tell that, or that I think a younger person could take away from this to tell them, is to, if you have people around you, even if it's, say, parents, for example, or grandparents, and you're feeling really annoyed because people are trying to tell you that you're not being your nicest self, and you're being a really negative and hateful individual, and maybe slightly sadistic, and like uh, you're just not being very polite to your elders and very respectful because of it. Just know things are hard, and I know what high school is about, and I know how hard it can be, especially when you're hiding a deep, deep, dark secret. But don't take it out on those people. If you're mad at them, calm yourself down and don't let that get to you. Don't let your anguish be their problem. And even if you don't mean to do that, sometimes you can do it with not meaning it, and I feel like that's what I did, and I feel really bad about that, because if I could take back those years of my life and have those people still around me that have now since passed away that I acted like around them at times, I would take back everything that I did when I was mad, because when I was younger, I had a really hard time processing my emotions and really controlling my anger, and I had really bad anger issues. And I probably should have gone to a therapist back then, but I was just so depressed and in myself that I was so absorbed in at the time, and I'm glad that I talked myself out of it, but I felt like the only way I was ever going to get a relief was through suicide. And I highly recommend, if anyone's younger out there, I know this is raw and real, don't do that. Don't try that. Thankfully, I was able to talk myself out of it, but I had contemplated doing it because I thought, well, I've done so much bad stuff now, and now I have to live with this guilt, and look at me, and I'm spiraling and doing more bad things, and I shouldn't be. And now looking back, I see it's lessons learned, and yeah. So just know your life matters. Don't take it out on anyone else, and don't think in negative space, because I found when I was in negative space, I was really down. And then I remember when I after like my metal phase, I had gone into a redneck phase, which I was really still down, and then kind of back into like a grungy phase, and still kind of listened to country, but I was down, and that's when I was at my lowest and contemplating, and I did some things then that I especially wasn't proud of, that I will not mention because I don't feel I need to, and I don't really want to dwell on them because they were things in my past and I did them, and it is what it is. And now I've found, since my childhood, I was into God, lost God, and then I finally feel I found the light of God again because I let God's light back into me, but in my own way and not the way of the church like I was raised when I was a kid, because I came from a French Catholic family. And so, and I don't really go to church, but I feel like I've renewed myself in God in my own way and how I believe God to be as an entity. And so anyways, and yeah, so just know that your life matters. And then it wasn't till the end of my teen years, sometime, probably, it was definitely 21 when I came out, but probably just around before 21, 18, 19 years old, I was living with my grandparents, and I finally had said to myself, I can't do this anymore because I'm so depressed. And uh, and I would always say stuff and question why I was born and why I was put on this earth, and then thinking about all the mistakes I made and how I acted out in ways that were very not healthy. And finally saying I need to do something because I can't do this anymore. And then I had this voice in my head say to me that if you do this, and it was a negative voice saying this is going to be really expensive, possibly millions of dollars, and you'll never make it. And it was like a man's voice laughing at me. And then I thought to myself, oh, so you're really trying to negatively drag me down. And I think that it may have been negative recourse from the said things I told you I had did in my later teens that I was not proud of, that I will not mention. And if you want to put two and two together, you can, but I'm not gonna say it outright. And I just realized I can't let those voices and those thoughts consume me, and I need to better my life. And so I guess what I'm trying to say from this is that life gets better, and you may make mistakes when you're younger. Chalk them up as life lessons, but if you can take anything away from this video, maybe you can have fewer lessons you have to learn by listening to somebody like myself. If you're, say, in your teens and you're doing some things that maybe your parents are concerned about you for, and just know why they're concerned and don't do them. And just live your life, and know, again, like I said, that high school is a hard place. I've been there. I know. I wished I had applied myself better in school than I did, because I feel like I would be better off if I had. And now I've limited my opportunities unless I go back to school to be able to do certain things, because I don't have a college degree because of my recklessness and my absent-mindedness and my tomfoolery, if you want to use it, and me thinking I was this coolest thing that ever walked the earth, but ended up just being this entitled little person because I was so depressed that I let everything absorb me and just acted like I was the only one with problems, and that I didn't care what I did or destroyed in my path. And yeah, since I've gotten older, I've mellowed out, obviously. But yeah, I just know it gets better, and then high school ends at some point, and just try your best to do really good in high school is another thing I will say. And go to college and try to really make something of your life, something that you can be proud of. And I guess if you don't want to go to college, that's fine, but if you can find a career that you really like doing and you're really proud of, and make something of your life, and don't just waste it away on mistakes and regrets and things, because I live with mistakes and regrets, and I try to put them past me, but I know they're there, and like I said, I know they're lessons, but I know that I've matured, and am trying to get closer to my higher self because of it. But just know that, and that there's people around you that love you and care for you dearly, and don't push them away, because I felt like I kind of pushed people away, and I kind of became one-sided with a certain individual, and I won't get into more detail than that, other than saying that a certain member of my life, and siding with them more, and then realizing that maybe that person wasn't always there for me as I thought they would be, because they dealt with some of their own issues and do have a touch of narcissism, I've observed, and sociopathic tendencies. And anyways, it just is what it is. And maybe I've mentioned stuff on this individual, but I won't mention anything this evening because I don't really feel to get into. But know that there are people around you that love you, and don't push them out. But also know that there might be people in your life too that are not healthy for you. And even though they may be a part of your life and you want them to be, just know if they show unhealthy behaviors and they show like an entitlement behavior, and that they loathe in the glory of you siding with them and defending them over someone else, to not do that, and to try to distance yourself from that person, and always love and forgive people, but try to distance and know that that person is that person, and you're not going to change the way they are, and just be a true and authentic you. And so I think that's where I'm going to close this video. And I love all y'all YouTube folks who view my videos. I know this one was a little more like heavy video, but I felt it needed to be made for inspirational purposes of the for younger youth. And my cat's at the door, so I'll let her in a minute. That's what you're hearing. And yeah. So anyways, as always, keep your heads up, stay strong, all that kind of jazz. Have an excellent time, whatever it is, wherever you are. And as always, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. And I will see y'all in the next video.